What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Whole Views, and I finally got to watch Venom Let There Be Carnage, Venom 2. So let's go ahead and get into a spoiler discussion on that very topic. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't so far. We're continuing to grow. Help us to grow. Hit the alerts. Come back for all the spoiler discussions. We do Marvel, we do DC, we do action, comedy, drama. Sometimes we do those Oscar films. Got a couple of those coming up that I want to talk about. So please stick around so you can hear the discussion about all the different things concerning movies, as well as firearms, and maybe even a little bit of video game content coming soon. So talking about Venom, here's the thing about Venom that was really blowing my mind up until when I got to see it. I've been talking with students. I have large amounts of students who have seen it. I have friends who have seen the movie but didn't want to spoil anything about the film for me. So I've been hearing so much from my students and from my friends about this post-credit scene. And it's just so much about this post-credit scene. But you know what I didn't hear about that whole time that the movie was in theaters before it hit streaming? I did not hear about the movie. I heard about the post-credit scene. And that really made me nervous about the movie. I ain't lying. It made me wonder about the quality of the film, because all anybody ever talked about was the post-credit scene. So with this being a spoiler review, because the movie's been out for a long time now, I'll say this: the post-credit scene is just like the movie. Mid-tier. Just not anything special. I know they include Spider-Man, and they kind of like blip him in, like, oh, something happened cosmically and Venom is now on the same Earth as Tom Holland's Spider-Man. But it's like, how? Just the fact that you did it doesn't make it special. To me, without any kind of explanation as to how that could have happened, and me trying to use my own memory, like, wait, what was going on in Spider-Man's world cosmically that could have made this happen? Like, I don't know. Maybe they're gonna try to use some WandaVision stuff. Maybe they're gonna try to use some Ten Rings stuff, cosmic beacons type stuff. Maybe you're gonna use some multiverse of madness type stuff, although that itself wouldn't work because that's not where he was when he was being outed. So there's a lot of stuff going on with that post-credit scene, but that post-credit scene is not the movie, nor did it make the movie for me. My score is what it is, and it is what it is based on the film. Let's talk about the film. The story of Venom is a 6 out of 10 for me. The reason why it is because we see so many elements of the original movie back in this sequel. The fact that Eddie and the symbiote are still kind of getting along roughly, with the symbiote wanting to do certain things and Eddie wanting to do other things, and the symbiote picking on Eddie, like, those are all elements that we saw in the first film, with the dynamic of Anne and Miss Chen and the small circle of people who knows, and then like the wild stuff that he does. There was not much new, to me at least, represented in this film. There was not a whole bunch of like, oh, this is a new layer. The only new layer that I really appreciated in this one was the fact that the symbiote wanted to be a protector. He wanted to be known as a hero, and it's like, okay, that's a cool little angle to take. Of course, the performance of Tom Hardy, talking about visuals, the performance of Tom Hardy against Tom Hardy, him voicing the symbiote and him playing Eddie, that's always going to be good. But I feel like there needs to be an elevation of storytelling with these Venom movies, because the first one, it was a mid-tier film as well, but it was lightning in a bottle is what I called it. It hit a lot of buttons for a lot of people. I wasn't scoring movies back then, but if I would have scored it back then, I probably would have scored it higher than I'm scoring this one. Not saying this one wasn't a good time. I do feel like it was a good time. It was fun, but there were just elements that felt fresh in the first one, and they were redone here, and it did not feel as fresh. Again, getting back to performance though, I did like Michelle Williams, and I liked her more in this one. Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock, I liked him about the same in this one, although when he did the interview with Woody Harrelson's character, like, I imagined that his lifestyle would change once he was quote unquote back on top, and I didn't really see a change or a difference made in his life. He wasn't any cleaner, he wasn't any more presentable, he didn't move apartments or change anything. He was just like, oh, he's back on top now. It's like, I guess it just wasn't impressive in that regard to me. Graphically though, visually, sticking in that topic, I feel like this did look better than the first one. The first one I feel like was like shot in the dark a lot. There was a lot of like CGI monster fights that took place in the dark, and that did happen here as well. But I think they spent a bit more on the budget and it's lit a bit better. I enjoyed most of it. Speaking though still of performances in that visual category, Woody Harrelson. I'm not gonna say I expected more. I expected something different. He wasn't as maniacal as I thought he would have been. He wasn't as intimidating as I anticipated him being. But still a good performance from Woody in the realm of just being over the top and crazy. And I enjoyed most of what he did on the screen. Getting into another topic, which is the pace. One of the things I really enjoyed about Venom is that the movie is not long. It is 1 hour, 37 minutes, and it felt brisk. They didn't waste any time introducing us to a whole bunch of useless people. They showed us who mattered, and then they gave us everything that mattered about those people, and they kept it like real nice and tight. I like the fact that the symbiote was able to like pick up things that Eddie didn't and help move that story along faster. Like it didn't take multiple visits to the prison. Like he saw it once, had him draw it out, put the clues together, and it's like things moved along briskly. They didn't waste a lot of time. That's a plus to me, like getting it done in a like tight, concise manner. Very good pace. I enjoyed it. Entertainment value, I give an 8. And to be honest with you, that's one of the points that kind of disappointed me. Like there's stuff that happens in this movie and it's interesting and it's cool, but at the same time, like I expected it to be more. Not saying that I came in with high hopes or high expectations for the movie that ruined it for me. No, that's not the case. But just like the prison break scene that I'm thinking of, where Carnage gets in and he breaks out the girlfriend with the sonic scream and all that. Like that's cool, but not as interesting as I thought it would have been. Visually, a lot was going on. Lots of good effects and stunt work and helicopters crashing and graphic effects with screams and limbs going out. And it was horrific. It was good, but it was like at the same time, if you tired, like you could fall asleep on that scene, miss that whole scene, and probably get through the movie fine. Just like, oh, where did the girl come from? Oh, well, Carnage broke out of prison. Done. No big deal. Didn't miss anything pivotal. So entertainment wise, like it's good action that you see on the screen and a nice tight story, but it's like parts of that story can be missed and you would be fine. I actually, now that I think about it, I'm saying it out loud, I think you could actually miss most of Eddie's like rise back to being on top. Like that kind of came and went. You could have missed that part. Movie would have still moved right along and you would have still got it. So that's something to be said there. It's, you know, points deducted, not a perfect entertainment score for that reason. You could just miss parts and still be good. Like, yeah, it's a little bit off. Just a little bit. Finally, rewatchability, I have to give it a 7 because, again, Venom does not lend itself to be a family-friendly, super experience. Like, I couldn't just put this stuff on at any time because, you know, the symbiote, as funny as he is for adults, I don't think he's for kids. Although they do have some pretty cool interactions that I think anyone would enjoy. I don't want my children to have a nightmare. So the fact that I can't just put it on anytime, I gotta, you know, take a little point off of that. 2, I don't think that the movie overall is interesting enough to warrant a full second view. Like I always say, if something's going on and we just throw on Venom in the background, yeah, cool, throw it on in the background. Would I recommend people to watch it? Like, if you into all the comic book stuff, yeah, you want to know any, like, how when Venom shows up in a Spider-Man film and you want to know how, like, watch it, you know, stuff like that. But to say it's a must-watch, like, maybe not for everybody. I definitely think it's not for everybody. It still gives off that 2000s, 2005, 6, and maybe 2000 to 2010 version of like superhero movies, excluding the MCU stuff that started in 2008. But like, I think of like Elektra, I think of Daredevil, I think of Catwoman, I think of the Joel Schumacher Batman movies. I think of those when I think about Venom. Like, that is the vibe that it gives me. And that's not for everybody. Everybody's not gonna be into that. So that's kind of where I fall with it. I thought it was cool. I thought it was a nice little film, mid-tier movie. Not upper echelon like I kind of wanted, and I kind of figured it wouldn't be upper echelon when the way people kept talking about this post-credit scene and not the movie. So it's kind of a wrap-up of all my thoughts and experiences. I liked it. I would recommend it for people. I would watch parts of it again. It was cool. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Would you watch it again? Would you recommend it to people? Did it live up to your expectations? Just let me know. Put it in the comments. Enjoy yourself. Guard your heart. Come on back and check out more videos, please.